Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Republican and Democrat who went together and went to the Runbeck Center and saw something that they found, in their own words, not my words, their words, alarming. That you had active ballots that were filled out sitting alongside of blank ballots. That is as Harmeet Dillon said on the show last night, that is ludicrous. That should never happen. And so they took pictures of it. They had eyes on confirmation. It was enough that Brian Stile made sure the FBI knew about it as the chairman of the House Administration Committee. It is that sort of stuff that makes people nervous. And listen, it may just be incompetence. It may have been good-intentioned people doing bad things. But when you get a visual like that, and by the way, this report has visuals in it. You can literally see paper. I also believe the congressional observers took video footage. And I think that video footage, if it becomes public, will be eye-opening to people. Because you can hear the Democrat and Republican saying, what the heck? What's going on here? I think that that's the sort of thing, because the story in Maricopa County is everybody is a conspiracy theorist and everything is perfect here. And those pictures are probably going to show something imperfect. Doesn't mean it's illegal. Doesn't mean it's foreign, nefarious. We don't know enough yet. But getting to those sort of failures, hiccups, mistakes, whatever they are, is an important part to curing the system. Harmeet was sitting right alongside of me last night. She was an observer in Maricopa County in 2024 as a private lawyer working for the Republican Party. She said she observed things that would make your eyes roll to the back of your head. That is the sort of data we need to get to the senators and to the members of Congress and to the American people, because they've been force-fed this thing that our system is perfect. It's still a great system, but it is far from perfect. So they fear the idea that incompetence and incongruities are going to be exposed. Next week or in the week after, I think by the end of this month, Steve, we'll get the second component of this. A lot of people don't know this because we don't cover this, but in London, there was a major scandal about a year ago when the British government acknowledged that China hacked into voter data systems and got the voter identities of many British citizens. Great Britain was enormously alarmed. I think the American public will soon get a sense of alarm about issues like that. Things that our CIA and our DNI and our FBI and our HSI have known about for years. And I think that's the part of HSI being on the ground and elsewhere that they're beginning to look at, which is what were their voter identities stolen by a foreign power that in the future, present or past, have been used for influence measures, and our government has kept silent about it. I think John Ratcliffe, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Harmeet Dillon are going to be able to educate the public when these declassifications finally occur. And we're going to look a lot more like Great Britain, which is we should be alarmed. And by the way, we can fix this. We've just been asleep at the switch because our intelligence agencies have not given the American public the truth.
I don't agree with most of what John Solomon says, and I don't agree with what he said either about our systems being good. But I will tell you, getting to the bottom of what happened with Runbeck, which, by the way, we've had that footage for quite some time in the 2024 election. We had the footage. And I think what drives me the most crazy about the media is that they sniff the butt. They sniff around the edges. They never talk about what's really the problem, and they use hyperbolic statements like, oh, the intelligence community did not tell us the truth. The intelligence community has never told us the truth. Turn it up in my ears, will you please? The biggest issue that we face collectively is that we have a controlled narrative. And whether we're talking about Real America's Voice, and look, I don't have anything against this particular campaign. I think that the information is going to come out. I think it's going to be very powerful as to even the ODNI report and some of the other reports that we have that will shed light on just how widespread the election fraud is in our country. But you would have to be foolish to think that somewhere along the line that we have safe and secure elections anywhere in the country. We are not a self-deprecating society. That's not who we are. We actually do want to have life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We want to make sure that the ultra wealthy and big pharma and lobbyist groups and special interests and people that are in Congress and people that are put in positions of power aren't the only ones that get to eat. But in our country, that's what is happening. More specifically, it's not just happening in the country, it's happening on a state-by-state basis. So the same thing that they tried overseas, they brought here. They brought this institutional rot to our own shores, made it impossible for you to go after judges, made it impossible for you to elect somebody that can actually stand for the American people, made it impossible to look at what is happening in our country. And of course, I bring it from the perspective of Colorado because I'm here in Colorado. And I look at, and I've had a chance to look underneath the hood. And the further I get underneath the hood, the more I say, our country is institutionally broken. Our states are even more broken. Let me tell you what I mean, and then I'm going to get into some fundamentals of what needs to happen in Colorado. And then we're going to have a guest on that's going to talk about the cost of what it cost him to talk about election. I already know what it cost me. I already know what it's cost President Trump. I already know what it's cost many people in this country who have stood up for truth. Not hyperbolic statements, not stuff that we can't put our fingers on, not stuff that we didn't witness ourselves. Truth. And no matter where you turn, every single whistleblower out there, from the FBI whistleblowers to the IRS whistleblowers to Erik Holt, who is he was a chief of a fire chief, to myself. Anyone that is, show me an example of a whistleblower that was treated kindly within the system. Show me one that wasn't sued for defamation, that wasn't put through the ringer, who didn't have their constitutional rights just absolutely trampled, and have the entire media apparatus just have a heyday on every single one of them. Every single one of them. Show me one that I'm talking about that did not get destroyed. That they didn't just make stuff up and attack their family. You know, mine's a pretty severe case, but I'm not the only one. Look at what happened to David Clements. Look at what happened. I can go down the line. Patrick Byrne. It doesn't matter where you look. They don't like facts. And they will do everything they can to cover up those facts because they're just a bunch of evil demons. This David Beller guy, this guy, David Beller from Coomer's attorney, who's now trying to violate my First Amendment rights by saying that I don't have a right to talk about him because he's deathly afraid of me putting on the record the fact that the largest corruption case in the country is all tied to Erik Coomer, the guy that runs Dominion's strategy and security for 50+% of our vote, who said, hey, don't worry about it, Trump's not going to win, I made effing sure of it. Who said, oh, we got to shut him up and we got to sue everyone else. David Beller, the same guy that's being sued in the Christopher Gregory case, the largest corruption case in the history of Colorado. Millions of dollars in bribes paid. That includes a rotted judiciary and what can only be seen as the epicenter of the lack of accountability and the absolute grift that we have in this state. But let's talk about this if we can. Let's talk about this individual state, the state of Washington. You are not going to believe this. Play it.
There are 51 yeas, 46 nays. One excuse.
Having received a constitutional majority, both substitute Senate Bill 6346, as amended by the House, is declared.
The House approved a controversial income tax bill Tuesday. Democrats can be seen celebrating, Republicans packing their things, exhausted. The debate over this bill was a marathon, stretching for more than 24 hours overnight. The bill would impose a 9.9% income tax on households earning more than $1 million annually. The latest version of the legislation includes expanded tax breaks for small businesses and low-income families. Less than 1% of Washington's population would be impacted by the new tax. Governor Bob Ferguson says he looks forward to signing it. He says it sends significant dollars back to Washington families and small businesses, expanding the working families tax credit, and saving working parents money, funding free breakfast and lunch for all Washington K through 12 students.
A 10% tax on any family making over $1 million. The American dream is done. The thirst for blue states to grab more while they actually abuse the tax money they already have is significant. Americans are being treated as secondhand citizens while illegals are being given a lot of these subsidies. Millions of dollars go to NGOs that give free health care and free child care to people that frankly aren't American. But we step over Americans in order to do it. And don't be fooled. Washington is just another state where people will just flood away from it and go somewhere else. Industry will die, and those people that are poor will get poorer. And those people that can't actually move away, and the people that own homes, they'll pay the price. And foreclosures will go up. And by the way, this was all done on purpose. Like, nothing that we're talking about right now is done by accident. Nothing. None of this. This is all done on purpose. This is all done with the idea that they want to destroy the fiber of our nation so they can reset it. Look what they did to Venezuela. It's the identical playbook. Look at what they did to multiple nations overseas. Look what they did to Romania. Look at what happened to Greece. I mean, I could go down the line of the institutional rot that stole the basic opportunities from families all over the country, all over the world. Look at what's happening in Canada. It'll take you 6 months. You have cancer, you're going to die of cancer long before you actually get any help. That's the system that they have there. We have a 0.1% population in this country that run everything. And they can't get enough. They get billions of dollars, now they want trillions. And they want it at the expense of the American people. They have replacement theology across the entire nation to bring people across the borders, and then we have people that are funded by George Soros. Excuse me, they're not funded by George Soros. Let me actually tell you the truth about that. They're not trying. That's not true. That's not true. Let me just. That's what I just said is not true. We'll come back to it. California, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, New York, New Jersey. I can walk down the line of all the different states that are run by Democrats, and people are leaving in droves. And mathematically speaking, if any of you do the math, it doesn't add up to these places being blue. These are not these are not safe and secure elections. These are fraudulent elections across the board in all of these states. All of these states have a lot of things in common. You don't need an ID to vote. The voter rolls are absolutely rotted. They're fighting the federal government getting access to those rolls. They use machines that are run by a guy that for the last 15 years, up till 2020, was the guy that was the chief architect of all the systems, who then lied and said he wasn't. His name is Erik. He was the guy that was on the Antifa call in September of 2020. He was the one that in December of 2020, and by the way, this isn't about Erik. Erik is just a cog on the wheel for the intelligence community to steal the voice of the American people and commit treason state by state by state. And it was Clint Curtis in 2004 that blew the whistle to Congress and said they asked me, Congressman Feely asked me to write a program and paid a company, by the way, that was a Chinese company to create a voting system that could withstand any public scrutiny, that you couldn't see that votes were being flipped. But see, they needed a different part of the apparatus, and this is where system architecture becomes really important. They needed to have someone like that they could stand up, like Alex Halderman from Michigan, with all the credentials of being a doctor and being a professor, and say, oh, I can manipulate this machine with a ballpoint pen, which he really couldn't. There's more hyperbolic information that, as you got deeper into it, didn't talk about the frame infrastructure of that particular system, Dominion. In the curling argument down in Georgia, which happened in 2019 prior to the 2020 election, there were depositions that were made. One of them was done by Erik Schumer, another one by Alex Halderman. Alex Halderman, who is this professor from Michigan, many of you have heard of him, he came literally to the Lindell trial and got up on the stand and had no idea what system architecture even meant in relation to Dominion systems. He didn't even know. How is that possible? How could you be responsible for the person that is the most knowledgeable about election systems, be a cyber expert, and not know at all what system architecture was? That's not a term that we're familiar with inside of voting systems. It's on page 2. And I had to go back and check it and say, okay, here's a guy that literally got on the thing and said it was preposterous that Dominion would steal elections. And yet we have 12, 13, 15 whistleblowers from Venezuela that said, hey, the system, including people at the highest level, that said that not only did they actually conspire with the CIA in order to do this, but they conspired with congressmen, people in Congress. They conspired with private companies. Dominion Voting Systems was designed, the system architecture coming from Smartmatic, implemented into the country using algorithms that were created by a guy named Erik Schumer, who was recruited fresh off of almost going to jail for 10 years. A month after Smartmatic acquired Sequoia, Erik Schumer is still dealing with a past that, as a drug addict and a guy that almost went to prison as a felon. And by the way, go find those cases in California. They don't exist. Why? Why don't the cases exist? Who has the capability of wiping out entire cases? How is that possible? Within a month of actually Smartmatic buying Sequoia, Erik Schumer is brought in to be the chief architect, fresh off of being a heroin addict, who said he dried out on the ground. He just decided to dry out. Couldn't have passed a McDonald's background check, but we're going to hand him the keys to 17 states and the District of Columbia. That was the pick for Smartmatic. A guy that wrote a thesis about energy decay models having to do with nuclear decay, and an algorithm that matches identically to the cast vote records that were built. And again, this is where I will lose most of you in what I'm about to say, because you'd say, well, it's not the same. Energy decay is not the same as votes. Okay, so the way that math works is you can use math to do one thing, and then you can take that and convert it, and you can implement it into a system in order for it to accomplish an end goal. And the thing about PID controllers and the thing about energy decay is you have to get to you're getting to an outcome. In every election, there's an outcome. And we're sitting here watching elections get stolen inside the machine. We're watching things happen in municipal elections, and people say, here's what the radical left says. This is their argument. Well, how come President Trump won then? Well, first of all, it was too big to rig. You had too many people that had their fingers on every beat, and you had this guy named Elon Musk. And Elon Musk literally just walked in and said, bloop, here's what we're going to do. He knows. And the fact that he knew at 5:30 in the afternoon before the election was ending that President Trump was going to win means that he knows it all. He knows it all. Elon Musk is not a stupid man. He hasn't said anything. I don't know why he hasn't said anything. Maybe it's because he has security clearance, and maybe because that security clearance requires him, and anything that is classified, that he can't release it. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you have a clearance, you lose your clearance if you actually violate it. But if you don't think that I know that Elon Musk and a Red Hat group was responsible for making sure that President Trump was elected, he was. And the fact that we had down ballot races, especially in Colorado, that bucked the entire trend of the entire country. So the entire country went red except for Colorado in the 2024 election. True story. Go look it up. The entire country went one direction, Colorado went the other. I live in Colorado. This is not a blue state. I watched them systematically steal municipal elections after the 2024 election, and then promptly in 2025 steal school boards and things downstream, because they needed it to be ink dry that they had full control over the state. And the radical ideals of all of these people has come out in full swing, with them saying that you have to rape a child 3 times before you go to prison. You're eligible for probation otherwise. And if you rape 3 separate children once, it doesn't qualify, you actually can still get probation. That wanted to create a registry in the state of Colorado for prostitutes. We are in real trouble in this country because we are captured. And if you're in Colorado, you're about to hear something that you haven't heard before. I'm about to go through something with you that you haven't had a chance to see. And that is, I can tell you exactly what is wrong in the state of Colorado. I've been compiling a list and going through all the list of all the things that people are concerned with. The entire state of Colorado is fundamentally broken. There's not one part of Colorado that isn't broken. There's not one part of Colorado that isn't designed to actually enslave the people of Colorado. And the people of Colorado are feeling it in such a way that it is unsustainable. You have restaurateurs that are leaving the country and putting restaurants in other states that are red. And I had a conversation with 3 or 4 business owners today, and they all said the same thing. Joe, we can't run away from it because we can't get to the bottom of the election systems. One of those people 3 years ago told me I was nuts when I was talking about elections. They're still standing up people and saying that they're the gold standard. You still have people like Matt Crane in Colorado that are walking around bullying all the county clerks and recorders. But the county clerks and recorders, there's several of them that are now saying, I don't know how they're doing it, but they're definitely manipulating our elections. That's in Colorado. The SAVE Act would go a long way in giving the people of Colorado some peace, because the county clerks and recorders are like, listen, I'm just going to follow the rules. And the fear is across the nation that if you hem up mail-in ballots and you hem up the ID laws and clean voter rolls, if you hem up those 2 things, it becomes much more obvious the theft that they actually create. Much more obvious. You're still going to be able to get to the bottom of the machines. You're still going to be able to look at all those things, but it's an obvious deal. Putting people who can watch every precinct and just say, okay, this is how many people walked in and they voted. Can you still cheat? Yes, you can. But it takes the pressure off the county clerks and recorders and puts the pressure back on the people that have been stealing the voice of the people for a long time. And this entire country turns so bright red that it creates a different problem. How many of the judges should we throw out? And how many elections in our state have been stolen for the last 20 years? See, this is the dilemma that we face. We face this radical regime losing power. And so then those radical regime members selfishly go to the people that are on our side, like Senator Thune, and say, you better vote for us and we'll give you a boatload of cash and we'll do things for you. And we'll fund your campaign and we'll drop $10 million in this and $3 million in this, and your daughter needs this and your son needs this. And if you don't play ball, like what happened in Georgia, we'll just blow up your daughter's boyfriend on the road. That happened in Georgia. Democrats passed an income tax on Washington state, and do you want to know what the founder, Howard Schultz, announced literally right after? Starbucks founder Howard Schultz announced that his family is leaving Seattle for Florida. Same day, Democrats passed an income tax on Washington state. Starbucks corporate is moving to Nashville. The wealth exodus is underway. Democrats will kill Washington's economy. Do you think that the people of Washington voted for this? I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why I am running for governor of Colorado is that I don't give a shit about those people that would steal the sovereignty of the people in Colorado. I don't care who you are. I don't care if your name is George Soros. I don't care if it's Rosenblatt, whatever you want to call them. I don't care if it's the Polises of the world. I don't care if it's the Anschutz. I could care less if it's the CIA. I want the people of Colorado to have a voice and a seat at their own table. You think that this is what they want? How many people that make over $1 million are going to stay in Washington? Let me just go ahead and tell you right now, none. And if somebody there makes over $1 million, they're parking their residency somewhere else and maybe come back and hang out in Washington. They're going to gut the entire state. They're going to gut the whole state. Their thirst for more taxes and not being good stewards of the money that they've been given and saying, oh, by the way, we're going to give K through 12 school kids free lunches. You know that's not the case. You know the pennies on the dollar, the scraps get to the people. The rest of it is stuck into NGOs and entitlement buckets that are then handed out and doled out to their friends. And God forbid any of those friends actually make over $1 million. They won't, because they'll make sure that when they file their taxes, it's all expensed out. This is what we have. This is what we have in nearly every state in our country because of stolen elections. Colorado is a cesspool. It's not even recognizable. Let me just talk to you a little bit about Colorado, can I? How many of you think that you're not paying enough in taxes? How many? How many have to figure out how you're going to make a budget and where money's coming from? And then you hear about what they do in Somalia, and they send money over here, and they billions of dollars, and they talk in all these superfluous numbers, these numbers that are so big. And you're thinking to yourself, how do I even just pay my rent? How do I pay my mortgage? The cost of living in Colorado is completely unaffordable. 23 cents on every dollar in rent and mortgage on the average goes to taxes. 23% goes to taxes. It doesn't matter if you rent it from the big cheese up there and your rent's $4,000, $1,000 of that a month, $12,000 a year goes towards taxes. And imagine the person that's paying $1,500 a month and thinking to themselves, well, $400 a month. I pay $5,000 a year in taxes for property tax. And you're like, well, I rent, so I don't pay property tax. No, it's in your payment. It's there. The median household in Colorado is $580,000. Rents are up 8% in the last year. Property taxes jumped 20 to 40% in 2026 because the temporary relief of giving you a 10% disappeared. Auto insurance, while the insurance companies are actually paying, you want to know how much I understand what's happening in Colorado? I'm about to tell you. And by the way, everything that I'm saying now will apply to every one of your states. And if you're in a blue state, it more applies to you. Insurance, auto insurance and insurance in this state is up 55%. Now, if you actually go and check out the dividends that were paid on insurance companies, they passed out over $3.5 billion in dividends. $3.5 billion in a quarter. Utilities, gas, and just, it doesn't work for families. People are paying $500, $800, $1,000 a month just to natural gas. And that doesn't even count the fact that the government has come down and said, we're going to get rid of natural gas and make it more difficult for you and drive more through the electric grid, which puts more pressure on the fact that, oh, I forgot about that. They're getting ready to close a coal plant. But they will suck up farmers' land and the ability to make food here, buy it from Ukraine while putting up mass numbers of solar panels. Which, by the way, if you don't know anything about Colorado, we have lots and lots and lots and lots of hailstorms. So solar panels just doesn't work. It doesn't pencil. Neither does the wind farms that they put out there that right now is at the end of its life cycle 20 or 30 years later, and they're asking for subsidies in the $1 to $3 billion range from the state of Colorado just this year. And you know they'll probably get it. You want to know why? Because rules are for thee and they're not for me. The net out migration right now is nearly 5.5%. Childcare cost in the Denver area, childcare for the average family that is an American is $2,300 a month. It's one of the highest costs in the nation. And if you want to know why, because home daycares were relegated and regulated out of business. New rules by the state of Colorado made it almost impossible for home daycares to actually exist. So we have childcare deserts. But don't worry, we're the largest state in the country for abortions, and we will allow you to kill your baby even after the baby is delivered. Go check my math. A bag of groceries will cost you about $200. A bag, one bag of brown bag, $200. We went and did a study. I described one piece of meat and walked through a thing, and I just filled one bag, and it was $230 for one bag. Your paycheck disappears before you even leave the store. Food insecurity, 1 in 8 households literally cannot feed their family 3 meals a day. And if you want to know about inflation, we're in the top 3 states in the country, go check my math, of inflation. At the same time, crime is at an all-time high. Department of Corrections is failing miserably. There's no ability. Do we have our guest here? I'm gonna bring Erik in. Erik can listen to me kind of rant for a little bit, but I want him to be on here while I go through this, because maybe he can give us some insight when I'm done going through it. Erik, welcome to the show. You're muted, brother. You're muted.
All right, you got me. How you doing, brother?
Gotcha. So I just got some housekeeping. I want to talk about what's happening in Colorado. So I'll get your thoughts on it. But how long have you been listening to what I'm saying so far?
Since the show began, I've been on.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Apologies. I didn't know you were there the whole time. Bad on my part. The things that I'm talking about, are they, do you feel it? Do you see it? I mean, is what I'm saying wrong?
No, not at all. I mean, you started with Colorado is not a blue state. And I tell that to everybody I know, man. It is not a blue state. It is controlled by a certain group of people that want to rape you of your money, plain and simple, and your rights.
And the rape you of your rights is even bigger. I'm going to go through stuff with Colorado. I'm just going to run through this stuff real quick because I've been studying the bills and I've been studying kind of what the problems are and what people are seeing. I've been listening to people in the community, and I've been saying, okay, how do we develop a plan? How do we come back from this, Erik? How do we come back from something so rotted? I mean, you uncovered election fraud that was so blatantly, it was so obvious that you would have had to have given the benefit of the doubt to someone 3 states over with a separate video and say that this is they would have to have like been watching cartoons and not seen it, not to prosecute these people. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, that's the entire platform I have is, you know what, when the system fails, why don't we just let people make their own mind up and show it to them? And that's what I've been doing for the last year. And anybody that sees it, it's so cut and dry, Joe. It's so easy.
And you've been fighting this for years. Cost you your job.
It's cost me everything. My home, my job, my kids, place they grew up. We've had to move. I mean, it just torn apart my life in ways.
But you were a whistleblower, Erik. They should have been able to protect you.
Yeah, you'd think, right? Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
I'll say this, Joe. This is why I love you, and I love what you're doing, and that you stepped up to lead and to run for candidacy. Because I will say this, maybe not nationwide, in the state of Colorado, though, every system is designed to fail and to harm the citizens, plain and simple. At every level, which I went through every level, from local law enforcement to the court system to the state, to the feds, and I have gotten nothing. The only thing that changed the game was people like you helping me share my story and putting it out there for people to see, because I have nothing to hide. So I just put it on the internet, and holy cow, we've created a movement. It's insane.
Erik, I want to take a minute and I want to go through some of this stuff that I've been kind of compiling, and I've done a pretty good job of doing it, frankly. But I want to walk through this, and you tell me if any part of this is untrue. You can fact check me. You can go anywhere to fact check me. Violent property crime is among the highest. Sometimes it's even higher in California than California here in Colorado. The arrest rate in Colorado is nearly non-existent. It's less than 10%. And when I talk about those, it's only 8% if you're talking about rapes and assaults. 8%. And check my math, guys. I want you all to check my math. On rapes and assaults, the arrest rate is less than 10%. I have 8.32%. Revolving door of justice, no cash bails. Plea deals, understaffed police go and arrest them, they put them back in, it's a revolving door. Smash and grabs, car thefts. Even if gun stores are robbed, the response time is over an hour. So guns, if they're breaking in to steal guns in the middle of the night, and nothing. DOC parole has the assessment on a parolee wrong 98% of the time. 98%. Releasing violent offenders on the street that within 90 days, within 90 days, I'm not saying wholly, within 90 days, nearly 65% of parolees reoffend, and at a significant level higher than what they actually did before. This is Colorado. Homelessness is out of control. Since 2020, the homeless population in the state of Colorado is up 90%. 90%. We spend billions of dollars every year, Erik, in Colorado. On the average, $164,000 per homeless person. Let me say that again. If you take all the entitlements and the NGO money and the things that they push out, the special slush funds that they have in the governor's office and in city and county of Denver, it's $164,000 per homeless person. Tell me what they have to show for it. Is there a building to show for it?
No, that's a staggering number. I mean, that's what probably average Coloradans make a third of that.
Yeah.
In annual salary. So you
58 grand. 58,000.
That's the average, yeah. Wow. It's terrifying.
Okay. So let's we could talk about the apocalyptic conditions with state voucher candidates or tenants inside of it, most of which are here illegally. Illegally. They're not legal citizens. Let's talk about economic decline. Job openings are down almost 50%. Unemployment rate has risen, it's the fifth slowest growing economy in the country. And we net out job losses in nearly every sector. Downtown vacancy rate is 35 to 40%. Palantir just left, took all their people. And by the way, Palantir came to Colorado in just 2020 and left Silicon Valley to come to Colorado, only to exit within 6 years. Less than a year after their entitlements ran out. Colorado is now the sixth most regulated state, and restrictions against businesses grew by 7% from 2020 to 2023. We haven't even measured the effect of it yet on businesses here, while government grew at an astounding 41%. The government of Colorado, the budgets grew by 41%. During the same period, regulations increased by 7.1%. What do you think of that?
Sounds like a dying state pretty rapidly. It's not even a slow decay. That's
I'm not done yet.
Oh God.
Erik, 500 plus bills per session. That's an average of 4 new laws a day. That's 3 to 8 times the national average. Let me say that again. You ready? 500 new bills per session. That's an average of 4 laws a day. That's a 3 to 8 times the national average of laws that have to be passed.
To go backwards, not get better, huh?
People ask me, like, Joe, do you understand what's happening in Colorado? Somebody asked me 2 days ago, I had somebody ask me at lunch, do you understand what's happening in Colorado? And by the way, I'm running for governor not because I want to, because on a zero scale of 0 to 100 or 0 to 500, I'm at negative 50,000. I want nothing to do with the political apparatus in any state, in any country. I think they're all rotted, shitty-ass people. I think the only thing we have in this country is Donald Trump, and 99% of the other people, you could put them in a city, put a border around it, fill it like a bathtub, and drown them. That's how much respect I have for the apparatuses that have done this to the people of Colorado. The people like Matt Crane, the people like Dominion Voting Systems, the people like Governor Polis and Phil Weasel Weiser, who says, I got 59 lawsuits against President Trump. While the people in Colorado basically rot all the way to hell, and they could care less. They just put more pedophiles on the street. Am I wrong, Erik?
No, I mean, and I think, from the day I met you, I've been bugging you to run for governor. So I will attest that for
Yes, you have.
a year, you said, I want nothing to do with that. And even, through support behind other people running until it was just, this is one of the things I respect, Joe, is you know what, the job's got to get done. And I guess, F it, Joe's the guy, so he's going to step up. But I will attest that you didn't want to.
Yeah. How about small businesses? You think they're doing well in Colorado?
Oh, no, I mean, every small business owner I know is, you're down to like living off a minimum wage and you're supposed to be an entrepreneur growing, it's crazy.
I talk about deserts a lot, opportunity deserts, food deserts, education deserts. Well, let's add entrepreneurial desert to the deal. They asked business owners in a survey. There was a survey done. 77% of those people said that the climate for businesses in this state is untenable. Nearly 40% of those businesses said that if things don't improve, they will close in the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I just said? 41%? I mean, what are we supposed to, we're going to live on subsidies to things like Chick-fil-A and Cane's?
Well, that's of the businesses that survived through COVID, right? Is Colorado now worse than COVID restrictions were on restaurants and mom and pop shops? Because it sounds like it.
We're going to talk to you about election fraud. I'm going to keep you on the whole time, by the way. So we got a lot to talk about.
I'm free.
But I don't want to give you. I want to say that there is hope. There's this guy Joe Oltmann that's running for governor. I heard he's a real hard ass. And I heard that he really just cares about nothing but the people, and he doesn't give a shit what special interests or lobbyists or the CIA or anybody else. None of those guys. We don't care about any of those people. What we care about is the people of Colorado, right? So I heard he's running. So there is hope. There is absolute hope, Erik. I just want you to know there's hope that you can come back to Colorado, and we're going to set things straight.
Yeah, if I could ad-lib a minute. I told you I want to bring you something this weekend while I'm back out there. I'm going to tell you what that is because of why it matters to me. You mentioned Donald Trump and what a pulse change it is on our country. And so I was able to, on auction, that is a certified auction, obtain the flag that was flown at the U.S. Capitol for his inauguration of this term. And I want to bring that to you, Joe, and give it to you because the day that you win governor, I want you to fly that over the Colorado Capitol as a sign that Colorado has been saved. And I am confident that you will do that.
Wow. Well, now I have to win, don't I?
You're goddamn right.
Oh, man. Wow. Okay.
I
need to talk
it's something
more.
I would love to have, but I'm proud to give that to you, Joe, because of you didn't know me from Adam. You've had me. This is the third time on your show. You talk about being your brother's keeper, man, and there's very few people that I've never met you in person. I'll tell you that. It's been my phone. It's been on your show, but very few people have done what you've done to help me in my struggles. And I know that you can do that for the state of Colorado. And you just described, I mean, it's not going to make it another 4 years under anybody else, I don't think. So it's Colorado's saving grace, plain and simple.
I don't even know what to say, but I look forward to seeing you.
Likewise.
Wow. I want to get through all these things really quick with you because I think you lived in Colorado, so you understand this. And you have family here, right?
Family, friends, brothers and sisters from the fire service, the military. I laid a foundation in Colorado, man.
And I'm sorry, you're coming back. I just want you to know we're going to get you back. We're going to get you back in the. Let's talk about the deserts for the most vulnerable. For so long, political leaders have concentrated on the I-25 corridor. Like, this is how we make all of our decisions. And I don't mean the I-25 corridor, meaning even the poorest that we look in Aurora or on the eastern front,
right.
Farmers, or even the western slope. Every decision is made based on this urban ideology.
Yep.
And yet there's no economic mobility for the poor or minority communities, none. If you're an American and you're a black American in the state of Colorado, you have less chance, you have a bigger chance of winning the lottery than you do of creating an economically advantaged environment for yourself. I mean, it's not just bad, it's terrible. The job market in Colorado is collapsing as we talk. People are abandoning Colorado in droves because there's no economic opportunity. People are leaving here because not only do they have regulations on businesses which drive down salaries, if you can survive here, you're forced into an environment where the tax liability just makes it untenable for you to have that extra that allows for you to breathe. High childcare costs, food costs, failing schools and transportation, rural areas and low-income areas are they're trapped. And some of them are so trapped they can't leave. They can't even afford to leave without putting themselves in a position where they have to, put their family in jeopardy. And then the biggest part of this is because of the fact that we don't have programs out there, we don't have trade schools, we don't have things that downstream affect these young people. We are talking about generational poverty cycles that keep over and over again repeating themselves. And it's not just in Aurora and Denver. This leads to systematically these symptoms of high crime. It leads to high abortion rates. It leads to high health care costs because you have different types of healthcare costs that become necessary. They want to put needles on the street, Narcan, and everything. They want to service the symptom of allowing people to kill themselves slowly.
Yeah, because they have to be on the government's tit to live that life.
Math proficiency across Colorado, by the way, is 27%. Reading scores are amongst the worst in the nation. We are third from the bottom. And 35% below basic reading levels in some districts, some of the largest districts in Colorado, including the city and county of Denver. You have school scandals and teacher misconduct. You had 39 teachers that were arrested in 2025 for raping or sexual activity with children. 39. And enrollment drop of 10,000 people, 10,000 children in Denver alone in 2025. You have parents that are being called domestic terrorists. You have DSA, Democrat Socialists of America, and communists showing up to, and Antifa, to showing up to oppress anyone that stands against their radical ideologies, even though none of these people have kids. But they show up to school boards so that they can bully people with impunity. We have 25th in spending, but the worst outcomes for our children. And public schools are failing at such a high rate that 20% of the parents are seeking homeschool or online school alternatives to keep their children away from this sick perversion. That's just the school. Now we talk about trade schools. There's a huge demand for them, but they can't find any instructors because they haven't built a system that allows for it to redeem itself. They try to do trade schools like they do regular schools, like retards, right? And we have programs that work, Erik. In the fire world, right? You would have people that come in that would help out, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you have people that came out and helped out?
Yeah. You don't learn a job without somebody instructing you on the basics.
But you learn on the job. Like you have programs where you learn on the job. So in these trade schools, they basically have them, they haven't built a system. They could build trade schools that actually have plumbers and electricians and everyone else that advertise like a business. Take the apprentice out. It's done at a half rate. You have it in schools, by the way. It's not difficult. You have it in schools like for dentistry. You can go in and go to Anschutz school or whatever these schools that are out there, and they can get dentistry for a fraction of the cost. But you have a student that's doing it. I don't know if I want to do over dentistry. Maybe for plumbing and maybe for electricity. Maybe. But
I don't know. It's a different risk, right?
It's a completely different risk. But you have a master electrician that's there that's getting paid a wage, right? They're actually doing the work. You could, this is generational. This is legacy material for people that are inside the trades, right?
Well, and some of the best, most stable jobs that exist, right?
So shops classes were eliminated years ago. So now they have these schools that they build, and they throttle the ability to learn in those schools. And if you don't have shop classes and you don't have the ability to have these apprentice programs or trade schools, then you have to subsidize it with for-profit schools. So then you have the same problem that you have on the education side. You have someone that graduates from ITT or one of these places with $120,000 in debt.
Oh.
And in Colorado alone, for every 5 people that retire from a trade, they're only replaced by 2 people because they've throttled the ability for kids to get access to that opportunity. And these deserts mostly exist in mostly urban environments.
Oh, call a plumber or call an electrician and say, hey, I need a repair tonight. It used to be that they would come out and do that, maybe charge you a fee. You couldn't get a plumber. If you went through Google right now and asked, you needed one today, you wouldn't get one out. There's just not enough of them.
There's not enough. I haven't even started talking about infrastructure. We have elitist tollways. In other words, if you're wealthy, you drive on the left. You pay $5, get home 30 minutes early.
Yeah,
if you can't afford that, you're a single mom, you have to sit in line because we have turned our roadways into tax havens.
That are foreign owned, mind you.
Oh,
that money goes to a foreign company.
Let's talk about that. A foreign company over in Australia for $470. Other companies like Belgium and others that participate in these private equity firms come in and say, oh, we're going to build a roadway to Colorado Springs. Now, they originally came out and said it wouldn't be a tollway or be a tollway for a short period of time, and it never is a short period of time. Mm-hmm. And now we have hundreds of millions of dollars being funneled out of the state of Colorado for $470.
Yep.
You've developed an elitist tollway where you basically are punishing the poorest among us. And what roads we do have that aren't tollways, man, Erik, be glad wherever you are that you're there because it's awful in Colorado. Potholes are everywhere. The Front Range, the roads are some of the worst I've seen. And we try to focus on that because you pop a tire and it happens nearly every day. But help me, Erik.
I had a friend that used to drive between Colorado and Kansas all the time. They said, it was one of my favorite jokes, but it said, I love hitting Kansas because I get Republican roads. There's no potholes. You can go 70. But man, in Colorado, infrastructure is so far out of date right now. It's scary. It's terrifying. But I've never considered what you just said, Joe, as a really good thinking point of imagine, I fly in this weekend If I didn't take 470, I got to go down to the Springs, and I got to go. Was it
225.
225 to? I mean, that's an hour's difference. If I had to do that every day, that's less time with my kids. That's less love and education with my children. It's more time away working to pay taxes. I mean, yeah, that is such a strong point that is overlooked.
From DIA to Colorado, from DIA to I-25 on 470 costs you $8 each way. Now, just imagine that you live off of that road and you have to take Arapahoe Road all the way down because you can't afford to pay that $8 a day. So let's just say you work 20 hours a week. It's $160 more just in tolls a month that go to the government that they then send over to a foreign private equity firm for those roads.
A day's work at the end of the month just to drive to and fro.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's just two. Fro is another 160. Right? So now you're talking $320 that you have to pay in tollways if you worked out there or worked close or lived close to there and you tried to get around it by going back roads. $320 a month.
Oh man, what I could do with
to drive on a road.
Yeah.
We
To
haven't
show
started talking
up.
about gas prices. We haven't even started talking about the gas tax that's supposed to pay for our roadways. I mean, look, Colorado is so fundamentally broken in every way. You look at the water scarcity issue that we have. We haven't negotiated a water contracts in 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally get to the place where we're not keeping our fair share of water. We're passing it downstream to Arizona and to California. And so there's a water scarcity issue, which is pushing and putting downward pressure on our farmers. And a lot of it has more to do with how we manage that water, not necessarily how much water we have.
So my career path now is water, with water rights and all of that. And yeah, man, you're hitting some huge nails. I always think of Americana as the old Chevy commercials, the old heartbeat of America, right? Patriotic in nature, but it's the ag in Colorado, which is 90% of that state. The hunting, the cattlemen, the hay growers, they're going to be droughted out very soon.
Yeah. And what are we going to be able to do when you're giving up another 4% of your water? And they're already rationing water to those ranges. You know, let's add in something else for it. You talk about the rural world. And by the way, Erik, everything that I'm telling you about, I didn't become an expert on it overnight. I'm not even an expert on it now. I just know that if I turn off some valves, I can give back some of the ability for people in the urban environment and some of the people in the rural environment to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves. That's a great idea, right? We needed wolves like we needed a hole in the head.
Well, it's the same point. People voting on school stuff aren't having kids in their schools, right? People that voted for wolves don't own land, don't raise cattle.
They just think it'd be neat.
Yeah, it's cool.
I
I
watched
like
too many werewolves movies.
Yeah. Oh, Team Edward or whatever, right?
Yeah. So you're talking about this Prop 114 devastated the ranchers. Devastated. And by the way, you're not allowed to shoot them. So you got wolves here, which, by the way, they weren't supposed to come from Canada. They went and grabbed the wolves from Canada, which are these big wildebeest things, brought them down to Colorado, put it in there. They were told that they wouldn't do that, but they did it anyway. And in return, you have ranchers that have uncontrollable breeding grounds for wolves, and they're killing their livestock. And it's already hard for them to survive now. And it's not hard to survive because they're ranchers. It's hard to survive because of the amount of regulation on those ranchers just to be able to survive in their environment.
Well, and one of the most economic things that Colorado has is out-of-state hunters coming in, and the depredation on the elk population and all that. I mean, if you live in Colorado, every fall you see a flood of out-of-staters paying $500, $600, $700 for the tag just to show up, plus what they bring into the local economy. That was a great idea. Let's bring some timber wolves in from Canada or Alaska.
And they were told not to. They were told not to, but they did it anyway because they don't care. Because the people of Colorado are an inconvenience to these radicals that want to take from us what was never theirs. I mean, Eric, I'm not even done. Bro, if I showed you my list of things and stuff as I started doing research, it would blow your mind. I'll just run through a couple more with you just real quick. You have the millions for payouts for that go towards some of these management plans for rural America that are done out of Denver, Colorado, because they know absolutely nothing about what's going on in those areas. We have the Second Amendment infringements. It's like a death by 1,000 cuts. You now have a regulation agency inside the state of Colorado because they believe that the ATF isn't doing their job. Oh, no. They want a regulatory agency in the state of Colorado so they can actually put undue pressure on gun stores and destroy them one by one. And then they say you have to put some blocks on. They absolutely have. Yeah. And they've literally taken away the rights of every person in Colorado when it comes to the Second Amendment right. We have a 14th Amendment issue in the state of Colorado related to the Second Amendment. If you can go to another state and actually protect your family, and you can't in the state of Colorado, that is a undue burden on the people of Colorado to say that you are not constitutionally yoked, you're not equal to other people that are U.S. citizens. And the Constitution is very clear. The right shall not be infringed. But now you have to take a 12-hour class if you want to get a gas-powered semi-auto, so you can't have an AR-15 or... And they're basically just trying to destroy the industry and take away people. By the way, if people in our community did not want guns, they wouldn't buy them.
Right, yeah, it's just a supply and demand thing. It's economics 101, right?
Right. Then we have leniency on pedophiles and sex offenders. 70% of child rapists get probation. 70% in the state of Colorado of child rapists get probation. Repeat offenders, they get put back on the street due to incompetence loopholes. Light penalties for traffickers. Victims are often not even notified, Eric, that the person that they put in jail, if they went to jail, were released. You have flock cameras on every corner. So every person that walks through and drives through, you have this police state that is basically making it impossible for people
ALPRs tracking every moment. Yeah. Every movement you make in a vehicle. Yeah.
Now let's talk about healthcare costs. I mean, are healthcare costs in Colorado going down or are they going up?
Well, that's, yeah. Everything in Colorado is going up. So let me take the low-hanging fruit there.
So because remote work is actually collapsing, mountain towns are actually collapsing as well. So we have a real problem in the ski towns and the rural areas because people are basically flocking out and leaving those areas as well, leaving this huge vacuum. And because of this overt thing of tourism in the mountains, people just come here, they don't want anything to do with the politics here, but they'll go there just to ski.
Of course, it's gorgeous, right?
Then it's unlivable for workers because they actually can't rent a place because property tax and everything else is so high that it's almost untenable.
Oh, that's already, so most of the mountain towns subsidize their employees and they still can't afford.
Yes. Those are just, that literally is 17 of the 28 things that I've written down of things that we have to absolutely tackle in the first 6 months of being governor. And by the way, that's how quick it'll happen. That's how quick it'll happen. We'll get rid of the wolves. We'll have a legislative session that basically says, listen, we're going to deregulate. We're going to chop all the regulations for businesses. We're going to create tax holidays, create consumption taxes, get rid of property tax, do the things that are, these tollways go away. We're going to repatriate those roads, give them back to the people of Colorado. And people are like, oh, you won't be able to fund the government. Good. It's the only thing we won't be able to fund. But families will be able to feed themselves. And then the communities will be able to have a community-wide ability to have a seat at the table and be stakeholders when they're talking about the education of their children or they're talking about the criminals that are on the street. And by the way, God forbid we actually go into the Department of Corrections and make it a non-for-profit deal and really concentrate on how we can treat these men and women like women and men, give them access to certain things, and create an environment where they're already there. They're there for years. Make it so that when they graduate from that, whatever that prison system is, they are graduating with a degree in being an electrician, being a plumber, having a job that they can get out and get into, and not being told when you get out, by the way, you can be a call center worker, or maybe if you're lucky, you could dig ditches at 55 years old or 60 years old, which is what they're
Well, wasn't prison founded on the idea of rehabilitation?
Yeah, but
not just
where's
profits?
the rehab?
Yeah.
Where's the rehabilitation? No, but here's the thing, and they're getting rid of warehouse workers and replacing them with robots. We are creating the perfect storm in our state to turn this into what can only be described as Armageddon.
I think it's at the precipice of 4 more years of what is currently happening. Colorado will be a third world country, especially the Denver metro area.
This is why I tell people all the time that if you want to get to a place where you can fix the problem, you have to try to fix the problem. Right? You have to address the problem. You have to listen to the people. If we give childcare, if we give childcare, free childcare, and free health care to illegals, we can strip that out of the deal and say, well, you can go back to whatever you came from, or you can become more, you can survive here, no problem. But we're not going to step over Americans and give you something that we're not willing to give our own people.
I don't even know how that is an argument in today's world, but you always say this, and it strikes such a chord. Nobody votes for this.
No.
Nobody's voting to give away 45 to 55% of my weekly check to the government. Nobody's voting to let child molesters out early without never should they get out, but a prison system that's just to feed money back to the government. So the more they lock you up, the more money they make. And by the way, if we strip opportunities from human beings, then they're probably going to do what it takes to survive, which is probably commit crimes here and there. It's a secular system, and nobody votes for that.
Well, I believe that's why when I look at the things that we're facing right now, I kind of scratch my head and go, this can't be real. Like, this cannot be a real thing. We cannot really be in a position where this nonsensical ridiculousness, and we didn't talk about DEI, I didn't talk about the pride flags in schools, or the grooming that happens, or the teachers that frankly are dumber than rocks that are going in there and trying to teach kids about social justice and forgetting about all the other fundamental things they have to do, or the fact that 50% of the education system is or more, 60% is nearly the administrative costs. I haven't talked about any of that stuff, right? And then we've cut out sports, and we've given, we're doing everything wrong. If you want to look at how to run a society and not destroy it, we're doing it all backwards.
No argument, Joe.
I know. I was waiting for you to argue with me, but like, well,
what do you come up with? I mean, it's almost like it makes you want to believe in sim theory or something, right? Like it's all controlled, and because who in their right mind wakes up every day and wants to live in that cycle?
And yet these people are oblivious to it. People in government, they're retarded. They're controllable, weak, pathetic people who use words like racist, homophobe, hateful. We know hate here. You don't have any hate. And some of them are complicit because they know, and others are just downright retarded and think that this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to talk about Jenna, but I'm glad you brought her up.
Oh my gosh, pretty terrible, huh?
Yeah, talk about disconnected, huh?
Yeah, completely disconnected. All right, so I want to go back a little bit. I've gotten to everything that I wanted to talk about, and I just spewed a bunch of stuff on you. I'm going to solve all of those problems in the first 6 months of being governor of Colorado.
I believe you. You know why I believe you? Because it's actually a pretty simple solution. Listen to the people and do what it makes sense.
And you're going to have to doge a whole bunch of people. You're going to have to get rid of a bunch of people. You're going to have to make the largest group of people moving out of the state of Colorado be state of Colorado employees. You're going to have to make the people that want to grift and graft off of the system, they're going to be the ones leaving.
Yeah, I was thinking about something too. When I first moved to Colorado, was the green wave and the marijuana laws and all that,
Yeah.
and they promised we would be so rich in Colorado if that passed, and where's even any impact financially from what
None.
was promised?
None.
I mean, talk about being grifted in the wool, right? Pulled over your eyes.
Everywhere you look, every industry that the government enters, they create an undue burden for everyone else around you to compete against them. They try to drive industry out of the equation. That is what the devil does, and that's what the devil has done in Colorado. That's what Jared Polis has done. That's what Phil Weiser has done. Remember, Phil Weiser has never, ever, 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 ever done anything other than be a weak little pathetic professor and then going from there to the AG's office. That's it. He has never accomplished anything in his life. Nothing ever in his life.
Yeah,
He's an educated idiot.
he makes little videos that he's suing Trump and losing, but he never makes the videos that he lost. What was the educational number? Because I want to tie that marijuana promise was that we would have the best schools in the nation because
Yes.
that's where the profits from cannabis would go to.
We don't even know
So-
where it went.
Wait, where did we rank, you said, in education for kids?
25th.
Bottom of the list? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, okay,
No,
midway.
25th on spending. We're in the bottom 3 on education. Bottom 3 on education.
Well, that was a promise unfulfilled, wasn't it then?
Well, what promises have they fulfilled?
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta remember back a little bit of history of, sometimes they do make it sound really great until you look at reality and what has happened.
I've spent so much time digging into what's happening in the state of Colorado that I just wonder how people in government, people in the legislature, they can't see it. Like, how do you not see so holistically what is happening is so broken fundamentally that you can't see it? And we haven't even started talking about the cycles, like the fire cycles you have up in the mountains and because of droughts and because of the lack of rain. I mean, we have some massive headwinds that are going to smack us so hard in the face in the coming years because we're fundamentally not prepared for it.
Yeah, well, how do politicians? I mean, I think people are NGOs and such are buying glaucoma. I'll say.
How about 160 houses burning in Lafayette, Louisville?
Louisville? Yeah.
Do you know how impossible that would be? I mean, I know a lot about how the houses burned down and how it has spread, but they had zero control over it. This is a neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, I told you, Joe, I'm coming back to run Colorado Fire Department.
I'll put you in
statewide
there.
agency.
You're in the cabinet. Here we go. Come on, put you in
Yeah.
there. I'm gonna
the
make
risk.
sure that you sing through that deal, and that you have less tolerance than I do to the stupid.
Believe me, I've seen it. People take fire protection very for granted, and what it means to have that service. Almost the same as you turn your faucet on and water comes out. But that's what I'll do for the Joe Oltmann administration of Colorado. Come fix some of that.
Hey, listen, don't threaten me with a good time. I love the idea of just diving right in the middle of it. I love the idea. Look, this thing here. Pray, stand, speak, act. By the way, if you guys are wondering, we still have these. We have these back in. I'll have to get you one, by the way. We have these back on the site for honorboundusa.com. You can go there and grab one. I love it. Can we go back in time real quick? And for those people that don't understand your story, can we go back to 2023 when somebody came to you? And they came to you and they said, "Okay, go ahead."
Well, yeah, I mean, great segue. Great timing, Joe. Right into fire protection. So I was a fire chief out there in Colorado and doing my job by every metric, and the board that supervised me and the community that I served and the firefighters that I led was doing a great job. And detractors.
One of them was a Green Beret.
Yeah,
right?
he works
Patch.
for you.
Yeah.
Patch is my guy, man. You want to talk about just the most dedicated patriot. Patch Patch and I met through another Green Beret, and he lived in the area. And he went to work for me and brought a culture that is just a beautiful gift, right? I'm sure he promotes that culture working for you, which is just a crazy connection that we both know the same guy. But shout out, Patch. I know you'll hear this. I love you, brother. Just doing my job, man. Building a fire department, reducing response times, putting trained people on scene on people's worst day. That was my job. I loved it. I did it well. And all of a sudden, a local election, right? Nobody cares about local elections, Joe.
Municipal election, yeah.
Yeah. All of a sudden that came up, and it was very contentious because I always love to call them, HOA Karens that know everything and have zero experience doing that can always do something better. Whatever their motivations are, that's what happens locally. I was working from home, responding to calls on the day of the election was held at the fire station. I responded to the fire station because there was a gentleman that needed medical care, and we did a CPR. The LZ was there at the fire station, so we were transporting the guy from his home to a helicopter who went into cardiac arrest. We did CPR. It was a horrible outcome. We couldn't save that guy, but that's something that happens on a pretty normal basis in the firefighting and EMS world. But while I was there, after going and telling this gentleman's family that, he did not make it and their loved one was lost, which is always a tough situation, I go back to retrieve my chief vehicle from the fire station, and a voter comes out and tells me something extremely alarming. And to save the suspense, that was, hey, I just voted. I was walking out. One of the poll watchers left the poll watching table, was on their cell phone, and I overheard that person say, "Did you pay him?" and was getting a vehicle description. "Oh, this is the vehicle pulling in." I said, "Well, that's super alarming. I am the fire chief, not the election official. Let me take you to that person." So I did that. And everything from that point for the last 3 years has been a fight through everything that should exist for that voter to say there's a problem and see accountability and justice for it. My next actions, after a few days and hearing a few more complaints, was to become a citizen investigator. I went off duty to this third-party company that had, they owned the servers for the surveillance system of the fire station. I went and did what everybody understands as a FOIA, or in Colorado, open records request, and I obtained that footage and I reviewed it. And what I found on over 40 hours of footage should terrify everybody in this country, because it was so blatant, it was so obvious, it was so literally black and white in what the rules and the laws are, that a guy who was good at firefighting went through and documented hundreds of election violations that happened in a 12-hour period, and put together the pieces which showed that there was, in Colorado, candidates appoint poll watchers. Talk about a huge conflict of interest. You get to decide who sits there and is the civic monitor, right?
Yeah, I have to take a quick commercial break, I was just told. So quick commercial break. Hold that thought. Commercial break. We'll be back in 3 minutes. In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF Guns. What is DCF Guns, you ask? We're the best damn gun store and range in the universe. Do we have guns? We have all the guns. We got small guns. We got big guns. We even have beastly guns. We offer all types of training, and we have 5 ranges across our 3 locations. I'm a good shot. And of course, we have all types of ammo. We even have flamethrowers. Woo! We offer incredible membership opportunities, and members save even more on guns, ammo, and accessories. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. It's hot.
Okay, sorry about that. We are back. I just had an emergency conversation I had to have, which was really good. So, Erik, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to disrupt you.
Yeah, way to cut to a commercial where you're doing flamethrowers, brother. Come on, man. I'm telling a fire chief story.
You can use a flamethrower if you use it properly. Just make sure you're using it properly.
Yeah, on a trained range, right? Oh, man. Got me sweating over here.
I have one. I also have a plasma shooter that I can like knock stuff down with. It's pretty cool.
Well, I'm more comfortable with a plasma than I am a flamethrower. So,
yeah.
But I'll give it to a fireman. You can go take that to Patch. I'm sure he'll have fun with it.
Oh, absolutely. Patch has fun with all sorts of stuff. All right. So you were talking about this the amount of that you got involved in this municipal election, that you uncovered all of this fraud, you took it to the people that needed to see it.
Yeah, and actually, just the one correction, I had nothing to do with it, man.
Right.
Nothing. I wanted nothing to do. I wanted to be a fire chief. But yeah, because I'm a citizen and a citizen first, man, and a patriot, when I heard something, I looked into it. And so I put it all together, took it to the local DA. They opened a criminal investigation. And then nothing but failure of government has taken place for 3 years. And last year, almost to the day, man, it'd be another month or so, it'd be the year anniversary. But after fighting in federal court after getting fired, after having my name just torn apart because I was a whistleblower and having everybody fail, the court issued summary judgment and dismissed my case, to which, again, I was a whistleblower. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't commit any crimes. I got out of desperation, man. I started Justice for Holt on Facebook and X. And I mean, you guys can go back to my old videos, but very clunky, like me walking around with my cell phone in the backyard, telling my story 10 minutes at a time. And I mean, talk about a therapeutic process, but as I dug into it, I had an attorney up until that point, and that after like $150,000 of money in his pocket already, lost on summary judgment, and said, if you want to fight this, you can win, but it'll cost you 50 grand, and I need that now. And I said, I live in a camper across the country with my 2 daughters and girlfriend. You've taken every penny I have. You can't just file this paperwork for me. You want to talk about desperation, man? Literally, I'm living in my stepdad's backyard in a camper. After being a local fire chief, I owned a 3,200 square foot cabin on 8 acres with my own, creek that ran through, and had just a great life.
And
because
you
I
were
was
a whistleblower that was just trying to take care of it. We talked about this right at the very beginning. I said, name me one whistleblower that uncovers systemic fraud and or corruption or crimes that were committed that was not treated the way you were treated. I was treated the way you were treated. You were treated the way you were treated.
Oh, I'm sure when people started to hear your story, I'm a nobody. You had some clout and fame in the world already before. I came from a nobody in a small mountain town.
I was just a guy that liked to help people in my community. I played football with gang members and hung out with cool people and built stuff and served the Lord. I had a bunch of businesses. That was it. That's my claim to fame, is that I was a business guy.
Well, I mean, nobody would have known who I was, right?
I would have. You knew Patch, so I would have eventually known you.
We would have crossed paths, I guess. But since I started doing this, man, I get messages every other day at least of like, this is what happens. And people love my journey because I was a nobody. You know, I mean, in local, I'm proud of who I am.
I don't believe in
veteran.
nobodies, but
Yeah. I lived a good life. I was a veteran. I rose to the ranks, became a fire chief, right? Like, I lived the American dream. But nobody on social media would have known who I was. And I just, out of desperation, man, and I tell this story, I was sitting after hearing that I lost my case at the dinner table, and I couldn't hear my two teenage girls screaming, yelling, and laughing and joking because I was just in this despair moment. And I looked at them and I said, there's no fucking way they'll see me quit. I don't care what it takes. And so after dinner, I started reading case law, man, and I went pro se in the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals through all the briefs. And thankfully, this guy, Joel, came along because he saw something or a message or whatever and said, come on my show. And through that show, he connected me to Grant, the attorney. I talked to him. He gave me some guidance. He got me in touch with Will Trackman, who is an attorney on Mountain States Legal Foundation. And I spilled my guts out to them. And they said, we got you. And they took me on. And now, a year later, man, I just last night I did 2 million views on my content in the last 90 days, which for a guy like me is something that I never thought was even something I'd think about. And all I do is show the evidence that the DA, which we on the last time I was on here exposed why, did not
Michael
prosecute. Yeah. Didn't want to say his name because I don't want to give him any attention. But
well, the problem is he's running for AG. So here's a guy that says he's a Republican running for AG that's standing in the way of free and fair elections and is letting criminals get away with stuff while you lost your job.
Yeah, and you know what? It was on the last episode, so people could search Erik Holt on your. We played that phone call with the DA, that they could not find anything to prosecute and that I needed to just basically go away. Since then, Joe, I did a FOIA that took 4 months for them to give, or a Quora, but same thing. And guess what I find? They dismissed my case at the DA's office 3 days after the people that retaliated against me hired an attorney. That attorney's son, happened to work at the DA's office. Never been in the case file at all. 3 days after his dad becomes defense counsel, he ends the criminal investigation. I go back in, and I wanted all communications. And you know what I found, Joe? They notified me August 1st, 2023, that they were closing the criminal investigation. I immediately turned around and asked for the case file. They go through their internal emails. You can see that, of reviewing, as they should. Mm-hmm. And then out of nowhere, hey, send this over to Vaughn and DeMuro Law, who just happens to be, the chief deputy district attorney's dad's law firm, and is at the moment answering a federal complaint for First Amendment retaliation. And they gave them exclusive access by emailing them the investigation files 2 weeks before the whistleblower who actually requested the file. And that is not somebody I will vote for. I'm sorry. If you run an office like that,
no,
I will vote for you.
That's exactly what's wrong with the state of Colorado. All the things that I just talked about are all happening because of feckless cowards that sit in positions of trust and authority. And you'll notice that I didn't say anything about Democrat or Republican. I actually don't give a shit if you're a purple dinosaur. Mm-hmm. I could care less.
I care what's here, man.
I have people in my company who are Democrats. I have people who are gay. I have people that are straight. I have people that are from every walk of life that work inside my company. I had a cross-dresser that worked for DCF Guns. Don't ask. I don't even know.
I might buy a gun from them just for fun.
I don't know. And people used to get mad at me, like, why'd you hire that guy? I was like, he didn't dress like that for the interview. Like, I didn't know. But he showed up as a cross-dresser for one of the events, and I'm like, what in the... I look at Josh, I go, what the hell's going on here? I feel like I just got bait and switched. Yeah, this
You've
is
been
like
punked.
I totally got punked. But
I want to clear one thing up, Joe.
Yeah.
It wasn't Michael Allen that ended it. I want to be very clear on that, crystal clear. Michael Allen was made aware of it and did nothing, and has since blackballed even answering me. He is the elected top dog at that DA's office. He is not the one that had the conflict of interest.
He sees everything, though.
But he was given the opportunity to rectify it and did not. And that's where it is. That's true honesty, and it's all out there. I put it out there. I got nothing to hide.
So what do we have going on right now? There's some stuff that's happening. So let's give an update to everyone on what is happening right now.
Man, this is a huge week. So after losing my case, I appealed pro se to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. Filed briefs, did all this stuff. Tuesday, March 17th, let the luck of the Irish be with me, baby. We have oral arguments. Mountain States Legal Foundation will be doing oral arguments in my case on facts they can't hide anymore, right? Recent court precedents, which looks like controlling precedent. I'm not an attorney. However, the confidence is high to win that appeal. Another chapter. I was running up against the time frame in the federal court. Now, the federal court had dismissed wrongful termination in violation of public policy and said they didn't have jurisdiction. So I filed pro se and still represent myself pro se against the very same law firm that has got a conflict up the yang. I have survived 3 motions to dismiss. And last 2 weeks ago, actually, because today is the deadline, 2 weeks ago, they received some extremely hard sanctions because they have refused and they continue to delay. We're at almost, today's 281 days of the case, and not one substantive piece of discovery has been transmitted. Now, it is almost 4 p.m. in Colorado. By 5 p.m. when that office closes, they have to have it to me, or they violated the judge's order on top of the sanctions given to them. Those sanctions
what
were
the
that
sanctions. Yeah.
Everything in discovery on the RFAs, request for admissions or denials, is deemed admitted, which ends the case basically because it admits that they violated law, they didn't have authority, they didn't have all that. They also were given a negative inference from here forward in the case and up to jury instructions. All objections for requests for production and documents are waived, which means they just have to hand those over. They have an hour and 10 minutes. If they don't, they have violated a very stern warning by the judge that sanctioned them for their behavior. At this point, I am at the point of having to prove willful and wanton disregard of civil rights, which loses, if they lose that, the people involved have no government immunity, which is the goal, to hold them personally liable for what they did. So,
have you put a number on what you're suing them for yet? Have you put a number on that? Because that number's got to be pretty high.
I offered them a very low number, actually, to settle out early, and they refused.
How much would you ask them for? Actually, you can't tell me. You're not allowed to tell me. It's ruled by Rule 408. You actually cannot. It is deemed confidential. So do not tell me anything. I don't want to know. so sorry. I went to ask you the question. And I'm like, oh, I'm curious. I'm not that curious.
Yeah. It's confidential.
Okay,
I will say this.
No. We know that there was a settlement offer that you made to them, and they declined it.
Yeah. No further on that. No,
Loose lips sink ships. Okay.
The biggest thing is not my pocket, Joe. It is admission of guilt that you violated our democracy. And second, and this is why I continue to fight. Again, 150,000 invested personally so far. I sold my home to continue a lawsuit while living in a camper. Okay. Federal courts carry protections to our Constitution, our most sacred document, okay? And so Judge Wong said, because I was a public official as a fire chief and an executive level that my cooperation with law enforcement was to be expected and an official duty. Therefore, I was never protected by the First Amendment, despite the fact that it was clear that they terminated me in retaliation. And so if that's affirmed at the 10th Circuit, that means public servants don't have any protections under the First Amendment, and I think that's wrong. I think that Supreme Court precedents like Lane v. Franks establish that because we're government employees does not mean we lose our constitutional rights. And oftentimes, the people that expose corruptions are high-ranking officials because they have access to uncover that. So, somewhat in my case, but I basically lost my case because I was a fire chief. Plain and simple. Not because of what transpired and who did what. And that's wrong. And that sends a very chilling message to everybody in this country when you stand up to defend it. That's the big ticket.
Do you feel like, from your perspective, do you feel as if the court itself, because you've run across the same thing that President Trump has run across, that we run across, is that you hope that through the 90% of what I call institutional rot that happens in the judiciary, you get a good judge. But do you feel it's almost too far gone, and that this lawlessness, their one-sided fingers on it, do you think it's going to lead to a place where, frankly, the people have enough and they can focus in on these are our enemies? I asked this yesterday, because I feel like it's almost a foregone conclusion that the judiciary and they're all lawyers, by the way. The DAs are lawyers, the lawyers are lawyers, and the judges are lawyers. So they have created their own fiefdom where they can act with impunity.
Yeah, I don't like to tell people what their opinions should be. I think that people should look to the Colorado Supreme Court situation going on right now and learn about that, and that should educate them on everything they need to know about that system. I will say in the state court, I've had a really good judge that's been very fair to this point. In the federal court, I had no chance in hell since day one.
And who's the judge in the state court, just so I could find that judge?
It's David Prince. You'll like him. He stood up for corruption against the Supreme Court, the Colorado Supreme Court.
Where's he at? What city and county?
Colorado Springs. He's at
okay. Well,
Fort Cedar.
I'm in Denver, so I have no chance of getting David Prince. I have the city and county of Denver and a bunch of retards that are in there that, frankly, have done everything they can to hurt the very people in the state. By the way, Erik, I got to tell you, I met with a guy today in my office that represents fathers that have been adversely affected by the judiciary. Mm-hmm. And the stories I was able to see, they're unbelievable. I mean,
I'm one of the few. I was awarded full custody in the state of Colorado of two girls, full custody and full decision making. But the journey I had to endure to get to that, nobody should have to. I will say that.
Well, I mean, I have two children, and I have an ex-wife who, frankly, I think she's a beautiful person. We didn't have the greatest relationship when the kids were growing up, but we kept it away from the kids. But I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars making sure that I kept my rights. I mean, it got sticky there for a bit. And then, then everybody figured out the good old Joe doesn't care. He just spend whatever it takes. And so they turned out really well, and everything's good in that. But I believe that fathers are not treated fairly in Colorado for sure.
No, I come from the fire department world, man. I've watched a lot of stand-up, patriot, good human beings with good hearts lose their children for no reason. Man, that makes me emotional even think about that because of I was fortunate, but I have friends that are not.
How does that make you feel?
It's multifaceted. I am so grateful for my outcome and that I had my kids, because if it would have been reversed, I wouldn't even be allowed to see my kids. They would be used as leverage for money, right? And I am so deeply pained by good men that put their life on the line every single day to serve their communities be stripped of the love of their children, and their children be used against them. So it's a very, like, you never want to lose the gratefulness that you feel, but it's almost like a guilty feeling because I watch these other guys suffer,
No, I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Well, bro, I'm actually really excited for you.
Thank you. We've come a long way, Joe.
Yeah, and I'm actually really proud of you because you showed the American spirit. The storm the beaches of Normandy. I mean, it's not lost on me that you're a veteran. But when you leave the service, you typically are not put in a position where you have to continually fight those enemies, foreign and domestic, that would do things to hurt people in your community. And you took the very unpopular path. You know, what's right is rarely popular, what's popular is rarely right. Always pick the path that is right. And you picked that path, right? Which makes you a warrior, right? And more importantly, your two girls watched you make the sacrifice that was necessary to not to live, you know, in the cush life of where you were, but to really show them that you fighting for what's right is worth it. It's worth it. You never want to sell your soul and sit on the sideline. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud to call you my brother, and I'm very excited for what's going to happen in the future. And screw these guys that literally have been messing with you.
I'm one man in a fight. I've said this on every interview I've done, man. If you want a good country, stand up, fight back.
I agree fully. Well, how do people follow you? I mean, I know that most people, their comments are blowing up saying that you're a warrior, and we know that. But how do people follow you? How do people stay in tune with what's happening?
Well, I got a website now, Justice for Holt, Holt, and it's the same name on every platform. So Facebook is my most active, my biggest following. X, TikTok, YouTube, all the videos get posted at all of those. And then if you want to contribute, which is hugely needed to the legal fund, I have a GoFundMe and GiveSendGo. Both you can search Justice for Holt, the same thing. And I got my own little logo now, Stand Up, Fight Back, because of this mustache. People identify it. So join the fight if you're listening. Even just a comment and a like, man, helps the mission. There's dark days in fighting, but sometimes it just takes, one comment, one like to go, people are paying attention. I'm doing the right thing.
I agree with you. A friend of mine just sent me a picture of me that he made on Where's Waldo. I just want to say to Rob, screw you. I'm not even going to show it to you guys. It's so offensive. It's not nice.
Damn it, Rob.
Erik, yeah, no kidding. Erik, brother, when you get back, when are you in town?
Flying Saturday, my friend.
All right, well, let's get together. You're here for how long?
I fly. I'm here till Tuesday morning. Immediately after the court, I got to fly back and get back to work. I got a justice fight.
Hold on, I need to check something real quick. Put this out. You fly back Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm free all day Monday if we can get together. Actually, Dorito's coming down Tuesday to support the court thing, but I know you got a
geez.
thing.
We got a game on Monday. We got the Avalanche and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Let's do it. I think I'm completely free Monday night.
Yeah, we're going to see the hockey game.
I'm gonna bring you that flag, Joe. You promised me you fly it as a.
You have my word.
All right, because you're gonna win.
You have my word.
You're gonna fucking win.
I don't have any plans on losing, and frankly, the people of Colorado, I'm going to spend literally the next 6 months talking about what they need, and I will sit in. I want the people of Colorado to get an opportunity to win more than anything in the world. And I remember this one person that said something to me. She's also running for governor. She said, you know what, Joe? When you speak, people listen, and they listen because you're credible. And here I'm telling you right now, we will fix Colorado. We will bring it right back to the top of that mountain. No question, we'll bring it back to the top of the mountain.
Yep. And you know what? They just like Donald Trump, and why I think it's symbolic and I wanted you to have that flag, is they can only gatekeep you so long, my brother.
They do try, though. This stuff is crazy.
I'm watching, but they can only do it so long, and then you're in the primary.
Yeah, they've been taking punches at me, and they accuse me of doing stuff. Victor Marks accuses me of doing stuff all the time. Like, have you lost your mind? Like, you're responsible for this person bad mouthing me and coming after me. I didn't even know the whole Victor Marks deal 4 weeks after I announced. I just knew that I couldn't support him. I didn't like what he said to me when I sat with him, right? And so
I think it's important for people to know that you did when he first announced.
I did.
You told me. I think he
Yes.
could be the guy.
I think he could be the guy. All right. I mean, I went to visit him. Told him. I think I told Trent before I met with him. I think I can make sure he wins. I will stand next to him. I said it on Facebook. I said it everywhere. And there's no selfish ambition for me. None. I don't. 0 to 500 in wanting to be in this race. Negative 50,000. Right?
Report that. I want people to know that about you, though.
It's like being on the
people to
beaches of
know.
it's like being on the beaches of Normandy. Nobody wanted to be the first one to step off that boat. The first 300 people that stepped off the boat all died. All 300 of them.
So,
Right? Not 200 of them. The first 300, they all died. Every single one of them. Who wants to be first? No one.
right.
But I'll run into the fire. I'll run into the fire, and I will serve the people honorably.
Well, I'll say this, man, and I don't want to dwell on that guy too much, but you had Scott on, and I watched how you engaged with Scott Bottoms, who's, I think, another great patriot, a great dude.
Yes.
You invited him, and I want people to know that. I want to know. I have the text if people want to see it. I said, Joe, run for governor. They need it. He said, no, I think this Victor Marks guy. Right, and you gave everybody a fair chance, and you know what? You're on the stage. You're doing it. I'm not here to sell Joe. I'm just telling people out there, he's the real deal, and you should really listen. If you want to save this state, man, it's sad. But that's why I have so much confidence in you, and why I hope to have been one of the first to say,
Yeah, I think you were the first.
Get up there.
I was like, get out of here. No, I'm not running for governor.
he didn't even entertain it, just to be clear.
No, because it's awful. Imagine people that you're going to piss off. Like, you're just taking away all their toys, taking away the grift, like just handing the people, looking at that poor mother that can't get a job and his kids. I mean, just how about the thousands of women that end up in Planned Parenthood to abort their baby? And I'm like, listen, we're going to flip the script. You want child care for your child? You want job training and things like that? We're going to focus all of our investment on Americans, on all these Americans. We're going to focus our investment there. It doesn't mean socialist anything. It means that if we're going to give a hand up to people and we're going to give them a way out in order to have success, we're going to eliminate these entitlements and eliminate taxes and gut the government to a place where, by the way, if the government is so big that the people have to spend so much on the government and yet life is really bad, it's not worth it. The juice is not worth the squeeze. Just get rid of it. So just cut that thing by 50% and hand back the tax money to the people of Colorado and say, hey, listen, I'm going to hand you back 20 cents on the 20 cents more per dollar. And we're going to shrink things up, but your roads will be good. And by the way, if we're going to do investments, we're going to do it right and make sure that we solve some of these big problems that we have.
Yeah, let me give you one more sentence, man. Mm-hmm. To the people out there, elect a guy who runs multiple companies, runs a big social media platform, and will text an idiot like me back that says, hey, I just need help. I need help. I need a platform to share this. And we'll join you in a fight. I mean, I don't know you, Joe. I've never met you in person. I didn't grow up with you. And you have helped me out.
I am my brother's keeper.
Much. You are your brother's keeper, and it's certified. And so I will stand on any mountain with you. Shoulder to shoulder, I'll take on any fight with you, brother.
I appreciate you, brother. God bless you.
God bless you.
Erik Holt. Great dude. Whew. Man, get me emotional. Yeah, there's some other, I get involved in these fights, and my wife always tells me, why do you help so many people? And I was like, I'm supposed to. It's like what I'm built for. And in business, I've been really successful because I treat our clients the same way. But I'm honest with them. to a fault. But I go through the same motions with everyone that I engage with. I give them time. And if I can't give you time, I want to share with you something. And this is so I had somebody reach out to me and said, Joe, I need help. I got to make money for my family. And I'm like, okay, I have this position available at DCF. And I was like, I want you to go interview. Now, this person, I said, yeah, look, I think there's a way we can definitely help you. Well, I mean, I like to have good people work within my organizations. He seemed like a good guy. But the process took longer than I thought it would. And part of it is that I've been going through this surgery schedule, which again got postponed, and pretty significant issues. Very significant issues. And I've talked to you guys a little bit about having to go through surgery and things that I've had to go through. And it's been a long process. Well, the last 3 weeks have been probably some of the worst. And I have just a massive amount of things and that I've got to work through that's going to require, the better part of a full day of being under the knife. That's not a comfortable thing to talk about. But, and I don't tell people about it, but last night I got a chance to talk to a guy that's a doctor, and we had a course conversation, different guy, but course conversation with him about my engagement with another person that wanted my time. Now, I just need you to know, time is not my friend. Because I do the stuff that I do with different people and I help a lot of people, and I feel obligated to do that while I'm trying to run companies, while I'm trying to handle this massive mountain of health issues. And health issues meaning, I don't want to tell you what's going on, but it's not fun. Is it solvable? Yes, but it's not fun. And it has to do with, I got poisoned in 2021. I beat my body up dramatically over the last 30 years. And so it's like you're trying to squeeze 10 years of maintenance into one session, right? It's a lot. So this guy sends me a text and I'm like, listen, let me reach out to someone, make them get some stuff over to you. And then he's pissed off that it took too long. I depended on this for my family, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, now, when I got the phone call from the doctor yesterday morning, he's like, you need to call this person. And that person said that I disrespected him because I didn't call him. Now my blood starts to boil, okay? And it boils because this is that selfish entitlement that people have no grace for unless it's feed me, feed me, feed me. So this little person decided to send me a text message saying, I treated you like family. And he's only met me twice. But twice. He's like, I thought you as family. First of all, if this is how you treat your family, I was the one that was wrong. First of all. And somebody here eventually got back to him. So I bring this up because he said, I no longer trust you. And I think to myself, fuck off. That's what I think. Fuck you. Like, you have no idea what I go through, what I have gone through, and you want to make it about you. And I understand it might be about you, but things don't happen in your time frame, and all of a sudden you want to take your toys and go home. Go home. And this is who I am, by the way. This is that lack of tolerance I have for people who I call fair weather people that you have to do things by their time frame. It's why I don't like the government interference. It's why I don't like judges that do what they've done to people with impunity. It's in large part why this whole structure of how we run our society has gotten so out of wonky whack. It's because people feel like they should be able to just encumber you. So anyway, that's the text message I got before I came on because I was a little late getting on here. And when I have a conversation with, like we just did with Erik Holt, it reminds me of how many people I've helped and how many people that I've actually given to that understand the commitment. Because I don't always get back to Erik in a timely manner. I'll do it the next day, or I'll remember it. I'll go, okay, I forgot about it. I can get back into this deal. But I would ask for prayers from you for the things that I have to go through over the next 2 weeks. Now, I mean, it's not fatal, but it's a lot. And hopefully coming out the other end of it, it's going to have quite a bit of a, you're going to see a lot of Patrick in about 2 weeks. And I know you guys like Patrick more than you like me, so it should be good. It should be really good. I want to come back, if I can, really quick before we get off. So Wrangler says, why don't you come to Tennessee and run for governor? Our pansy-ass governor ain't worth crap. Man, who knows? Maybe I'll run for governor and then I'll run for the president. I'm kidding. It was a joke. It's a joke. Just for all you guys out there, it was a joke. I'm not the right pedigree. I need to, I don't know, live another life, I guess. I'm gonna go back and go through something really quick with you. And I want to kind of talk about this specifically because they're now talking about killing the SAVE Act, and that is going to lead to an untenable situation where the American people have had enough. I've had enough. So this is the first. This is something that got put up from Reverend Jordan Wells. And this goes in line with what everything Erik said just now. And this is why when we talk about elections, it's so important. Virginia Democrats are ramming through mandatory indoctrination in schools that now Governor Spanberger, the moderate that ran on unity, has the reins. Shocking, Virginia forces teachers to call J6 an insurrection, bans any mention of peaceful protest or election fraud claims. Bans it. Under HB 333 just passed the General Assembly and headed to Spanberger's desk. If schools teach about Jan 6, 2021, they must describe it as an unprecedented, violent attack on democracy to overturn the 2020 election. This is not what you do when you're living in a place where you have free and fair elections. But here's the disgusting part. Teachers are prohibited from portraying it as a peaceful protest or presenting 2020 election fraud claims as credible in any circuit curriculum materials or classroom discussions. No debate, no alternative views, just one approved narrative or silence. This isn't education, it's state-mandated propaganda, straight out of the far-left playbook. Virginians voted for moderation, not turning classrooms into echo chambers, and Virginia into California 2.0, with censored history and forced ideology. Spanberger campaigned on the centralist CIA vet. CIA vet. CIA vet. Nobody elected a CIA vet, just so you know. No one elected a CIA vet. Stolen elections got that done. She's now poised to sign away free thought in our schools. If she does, it's full betrayal of the Commonwealth. Parents, wake up. This is how they erase real history and brainwash the next generation. Fight back before it's too late. Let me just tell you something. There is a group of people that are moving very quickly, and that big quickness is going to bite them in the butt. And you can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel what is happening. But I want to. There's more to actually tell about here. I'm going to run through this quickly as I can. 98,000 people allowed to vote in Arizona for 2 decades without ever showing proof of citizenship. Let's go ahead and play it.
This error happened in every county across the state since 2004. 2 decades. Now the problem, it's an easy fix. The MVD needed to recode their software. In fact, they already did that. The problem is fixed. But the question is now, how do we treat those 98,000 people before the 2024 election? That's just 48 days away.
This isn't a comfortable position to be in by any stretch.
Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes says he will respond to the Maricopa County Recorder's lawsuit on Wednesday. The Recorder's office is suing him, claiming to have found more than 98,000 people who were allowed to vote the full ballot in Arizona for 2 decades when they never showed proof of U.S. citizenship. Here's what happened. If a driver received a license prior to 1996, there was no proof of citizenship citizenship in the motor vehicle division records. Since 2004, Arizona requires a voter provide documented proof of citizenship. So if a driver with an older license registers to vote, the MVD thinks they have proof of citizenship in the system and allows them to vote a full ballot. Keep in mind, the recorder says the majority of these voters are most likely U.S. citizens. They just don't have documented proof. The largest group of them are Republicans, followed by independents and Democrats. Most of them are between the ages of 45 and 60 years old, and more than 60% are in Maricopa County. The recorder's office wants these 98,000 people to not be allowed to vote on a full ballot, which includes federal, state, and local elections, but instead a federal-only ballot, which only includes the president, U.S. Senator, and U.S. House of Representatives.
Every single one of these voters has met the minimum criteria in swearing an affirmation under penalty of perjury that they would have to do to vote in every election across the rest of the United States of America. Only Arizona has this, what I think is an unreasonable extra burden on its voters.
Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer wrote on X, the secretary argues that it is too close to the election to implement such a change and that would be unduly burdensome on voters and deprive them of their voting rights. That is why we are going to the courts to get.
That was Stephen Richer, one of the people that actually helped facilitate the fraud against the people in Arizona in the Maricopa elections in 2020. Okay, let's also do this. This is Senator Hawley that talks about the SAVE Act's being stalled because states want illegal voting. Play it.
On the Save America Act, what's your message to Americans who are incredibly frustrated with the pace at which this is moving? I mean, it's virtually not getting done. And now Thune is talking about not even implementing the talking filibuster the way it was intended to work. Is there any way we can change this trajectory?
I think it's not moving. I mean, that's the problem. It's completely stuck. And for those who say, oh, this is wild, this is extreme, no, it's not. This is what we do in my home state of Missouri. We have voter ID. We have had for years. We have citizenship requirements. We have had for years. So this is not nuts. This is what most states do. It's just a few states who don't want to do it because they want illegals voting. I think the Senate should pass it. And I think, as I said a second ago, if Democrats want to stall this and don't want to vote on it, they should have to go hold the floor like it used to be in the old days. They can go and talk as much as they want, but sooner or later, they're going to run out of time, and then we would vote. And that's what I think we need to do.
But it seems like Thune specifically is, reluctant to move forward with implementing the talking filibuster.
Yeah, I'll let him speak to that. I mean, I would just say that my view is that this is extremely important, and it's just a myth that to make people actually go and defend their position on the floor is somehow a great break with Senate tradition. That's not true. This is how the filibuster's always been implemented. You want to stall something, you can go to the floor. Ted Cruz once read children's books on the floor, for heaven's sake. So that's how, you can ask him about it. So that is how it's traditionally done. And now Democrats say, well, we don't want to do that. And if you make us do that, you're breaking the Senate. No, we're not. This is how the Senate's supposed to operate. But we should do something. And my concern right now is on a lot of things. We're just not doing anything, and we need to.
I mean, it sounds nice on paper, but the reality of it is they're all nice like that. American people suffer, American people die, American people get treated like slaves, and he wants to get on TV and he wants to be like, it's so nice. And that's not the way this is designed to be. It was designed to be a warrior stand to say we will stand for the American people, and they won't. None of them will. And if you think that if that's bad, and by the way, I don't see that as a positive, I see it as a negative, because he's not calling people out and saying you're a piece of shit. When you take from the American people what was never yours to take, and you allow people to steal from you with a smile, it is as bad as saying that you support the radical agenda. But it's worse because Congress is lying and talking about disenfranchisement as if they just make it up out of thin air. They can just say that the tooth fairy will be offended by this. Go ahead, play it.
Remember that if you have to have an ID, you have to come up with a birth certificate. Your birth certificate, 50% of Americans don't have birth certificates. 50% of the country, 50% of women who are married have a birth certificate where the name is different from your ID. And so if you have to have a birth certificate, that's also going to be a big challenge. So that's now what they're focusing on.
That's absolutely not true either. She's lying. But that's what leftists do. They just lie. Stolen elections have been a point of lunacy for us for so long. But we have all of this radicalism in radicalized environments within our environment where they want to steal your ability and tell the schools what they have to teach and rewrite history. You have this because you're a slave. And until we start breaking free of the slavery, which we're close to, I mean, you can only move away from the stink for so long before it consumes you and it basically corners you. And that's what's happening. Here's a Wisconsin teacher who showcased an exclusivity survey, and she's telling people you have to give your preferred name and your pronouns. Again, more ridiculousness, and then keeping that information from the parents. Play it.
So this is something I'm starting this semester to help with inclusivity in the classroom, making sure students feel comfortable. So on our first day, I made a simple Google form asking some information for my students. My form asks very simple things. It asks what classes they're in. It asks a preferred name or nickname, preferred pronouns. It asks, is this safe for me to use when I call or email home? And then it asks things about food allergies because we do cook in my class. What stresses them out in class, activities they enjoy, what they're involved in outside of school, and what they hope to gain from this class. And then they turn that in. Then I take that information, and I made up a fake one to show you, but I take that information and I put it straight on my roster. So this is what the substitute sees, or anybody that comes into my classroom if I'm gone for a day. So this information's all on like the roster. So I made up a fake one. So here's how I do it. Their name as it is in the school system is listed. If they have like a preferred name or nickname, I wrote that in there. And notice I left their legal name because they'll go by either. And then I put the pronouns in, and then I put if it was okay to use at home. For this one, I crossed out that name. That's their dead name. They don't want that used anymore. So we're going to go by their preferred name. That way somebody else that walks into my classroom doesn't even know what it is and doesn't call them by the wrong name. And then we put their pronouns. And then like this one said, yeah, it's okay. And then again, we have another dead name. We've crossed it out. Nobody can even tell what it is, and we can only call them by their preferred name. Their preferred pronouns are listed. And then this one, hypothetically, they said no. And so we would know if we were calling home, we would never use that name, and we would need to use the name that's in the official system. But I started doing this. I saw this idea here on TikTok. I just thought it was a really good way to make students feel super comfortable. And I really like that it includes, hey, is this okay to use at home or not okay to use at home? Because that's a really important question to ask your kiddos. So, and then that way it's just in my binder. That's what the sub sees. And then it's just a little bit less stressful for those students for the days that I'm gone. Hope this helps.
This woman's a retard. This is what retards look like. And you can see her dead eyes. I don't know if you paid attention to that, but her eyes are dead. It's unbelievable. And if that's not enough, if what I'm saying is not enough of what we just saw, Democrats in Virginia, oh, yeah, I know. Okay, I'm going to finish this with a funny. Can I finish this with a funny? We're going to finish this with a funny. All right. So there was a left-wing activist that went to a California State University Board of Trustees. And I'm just going to play it for you, and then I'm going to ask you questions. So the test on this afterwards. Play it.
And the idea that I have to get up here and say that trans women are women and that's what I have to use my time to do is absurd. Shame on you. Shame on all of you. And shame on you for using lesbian politics as a front for your transphobia, because this lesbian has had plenty of girlfriends with penises.
All right, I'm going to play it for you one more time. One more time.
And the idea that I have to get up here and say that trans women are women and that's what I have to use my time to do is absurd. Shame on you. Shame on all of you. And shame on you for using lesbian politics as a front for your transphobia, because this lesbian has had plenty of girlfriends with penises.
Who wants to tell her? If you wanted a guy with big boobs, just marry a fat guy. Just have a fat guy. Then you'd have boobs and he'd have a wiener. I mean, I'm sorry, but this lesbian, somebody who wants to, I don't even know what to say. She points at herself and says that she's a lesbian that has a girlfriend with a penis. So you're straight. I don't, help me. I don't even know what to say at this point. This is how absurd we are. This is how ridiculous has taken over. Stolen elections lead to this. 2004, it's not a mistake. You see 2004 a lot of places, 2005, and that this is where this kind of slow roll to ridiculousness and retardation started, right? These are a bunch of retards. But I just want to tell you that I want to tell the parents of this woman that was on there, there is a chance that she might end up pregnant. I just want to say it. You might actually be a grandparent at some point, you know? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that just might happen. It might happen. All right. So Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, more, all that stuff. We are on Rumble. Rumble does everything that they can to actually silence me. We had, I think, 1,300 or 1,400 new people that joined the page. I sent them over. We kind of tracked it through, and yet they keep taking away people to follow us. They also make it difficult for people on the platform to watch, because they'll literally just put it so stop it. So you get like 170, 180 people, and they just basically turn it down to make it almost impossible for people to watch the show. So you can, as an alternative, you can go to untamednation.com. We will be building obviously I built the Frank Speech platform, so I have a platform that we're going to develop and push out that will allow for us to, you've seen Father Mahana be on here. Obviously you have Tommy's podcast. So we do have quite a bit going on the tech side of things that will make it easier for us to truly have a place where we can actually be heard and you guys can hang out. I personally believe that Rumble had an opportunity, and it's just a bunch of fake and gay people over there that really don't care about free speech. And I'm not the only one that thinks this. There's lots of people out there that think this about Rumble, but they're just a glorified YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these other guys just swallowed them up, because one, they're retarded when it comes to technology, and number two, because they actually don't know how money's made. And number two, they purposely put themselves in a position where they pick winners and losers. At least YouTube, it did so based on the fact of ideology. What Rumble does is much worse. They actually go in and they find people inside their little group, like Dan Bongino, that say, I don't want this person to have a voice. I don't want this person to have a voice. And they silence it. That's Rumble. Okay? It's kind of disgusting. Okay, so we're going to pray ourselves out, do a bunch of stuff. Also, Facebook's kind of doing pretty well. I mean, we're kind of rock and rolling on Facebook. Kind of a weird thing to say. But you can find us on there too, and follow us on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, things like that. All right, let's pray it out. Father God, thank you for Father Mahana and for the lunch that I had today. Thank you for James. Thank you for the people that you've put in my life that have been a great blessing to this journey. And not just the last 6 years. Obviously, I'm grateful for my wife, and I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my family. But I'm grateful for the people that have stood next to me, my brothers and sisters in arms, who have walked with me, regardless of the consequences. Father, I'm grateful for the people that are listening. I'm grateful for their stories. I'm grateful for their paths that they've chosen to stand up for others. And Father, I am grateful for just the ability to be a part of this great restoration. It's been difficult, and we see all sorts of things happening, and it feels like a controlled environment. So we just keep speaking truth to it. So, Father, we just thank you for the ability to be able to do that. And as we walk through this, Father, I would just ask you to give us discernment, give us courage and stamina to continue to stay in this fight. Help us that we may have humility with each other, and may also recognize the times that we need to stand strong and speak strongly about things that are happening in our community and our country, and not tolerating the ridiculous. Father, help us that we may continue to strive forward to meet and to exceed exceed those things that we need to be doing collectively. In other words, just pushing through all the hard times and hardships that we have and unselfishly serving. Father, I'm grateful for Erik Holt. I ask you to bless his lawyers and to give him the strength to carry through all the way to the bitter end. I say these things humbly in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, I'll see you guys later. Sweatshirts are available. You can get it in white. You want to see what it looks like. It's what I'm wearing right now. Pray, stand, speak, act. 4 things I tell you have to do. Pray first, stand up, speak truth, and act. Faith without works is dead. And remember 1 John 3:16, it's really simple, that God gave up his son for us, so we should be able to give up our lives for our brothers and sisters. God bless you. I'll see you guys soon.
Rising from the fight for the forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Coomers, lies, dominions deceit, pays a grand each day, shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Martin, Tina Peters break the chains that bind her tight, hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night, restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true, badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away, shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. It's our rally call, truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Help the single moms, bring back trade school strong, opportunity for youth, where the brave belong. Audit every NGO, ban the wolves that roam, reclaim our stolen land, bring the power home. Erik Coomer's fraud, dominions, rig design, expose the stolen votes, cross the dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true, badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away, shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call, truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Governor Oltmann, freedom forever, Colorado rise. Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann. rise up untamed. In the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam, Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the